Hello, friends. Welcome to the Shorts of Valor channel. Before moving on to the story, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. And don't forget to turn on notifications to be informed about new videos. Now, let's get to the story. Good listening.
The title says it all. If you're wondering who they are, that's the interesting part. It could be your family, or your roommate, or whatever. I've never heard of such a thing before. So there's no clue what to do. I have no idea, other than sleeping, of course. That seems to be the only thing that really keeps them calm. Let me explain in a little more detail what I'm talking about. This has been going on for the past 3 nights. I didn't think much of it tonight because I thought my family was actually playing a prank on me. I was attacked by my wife until the other night. That first night, my wife and their twin sons, Merrick and I went to the house quite early. We all stayed in the cold until 9 o'clock. We spent a very long night chopping wood into pieces in preparation for the coming winter. When I woke up that night, there was a strange silence in the house, as if everyone had left and I was alone in the house. I took my phone in my hand and looked at the time as if I was asleep. I turned my head to check if my wife was asleep and saw that the bed was empty. I got up and looked around, except for the holy light coming from the boys' room, which we left open. The inside of the house was pitch black, and since my bedroom was left open, the corridor was in dim light. I could see 3 shadows all along. "This is Kelsey," I called out, even though I was stupid. I saw these 3 shadows suddenly move as if they were afraid as I spoke. This time I called a little louder. This time a chill went down my spine because all 3 of the shadows looked in my direction. What was this, as I was throwing the blanket off of me like that? I whispered to myself because I had to be right to do the research. The growing uneasiness in the pit of my stomach. I walked carefully towards the door with the 2 of them. When I got to the door, I said, "Look around," and I saw we were kissing my feathers, and the boys were standing motionless in front of the boys' rooms like statues, but they strained their necks to look directly at me. They all had big faces on their faces, and they continued to look at me with a disturbing smile. "What the hell are you doing?" I asked with an evil grin because I thought they were making fun of me. And now that I think about it, it doesn't make sense to think they were joking. As a result, there is no guarantee that I will wake up. Why did they all stand up at once in the middle of the night? After I asked the question, all of them had their bodies on their bodies. I jumped backwards in surprise. When there was the usual movement, I started to really think that something might be wrong. Then a name of fear came over me and I started to sweat. The microwave oven clock was suddenly pulled by a string. The smell of my stomach was so bad that I screamed in fear. The boys suddenly turned and walked towards their rooms. Everyone did the same. He did this. His smile disappeared and he walked past me like a zombie and returned to our bed. It was as if he had been sleeping the whole time. He started snoring as if nothing had happened. My head was all messed up. Since I woke up at 10 in the morning, it was impossible for just 1 minute to have passed. At least 5 minutes had to have passed. Again, I decided to bring up this issue in the morning. In the face of Antichrist, I stood up and walked away with a single smile because I remembered your little jokes from last night. "Good morning." The miscreants all stared at me with a confused expression on their faces. What? My wife finally spoke up. "Weren't you all standing in the hallway and laughing at me the other night?" I have to admit, well, it did scare me a little bit. By shaking my head, I said, "God, Rahim, don't even joke like that. You know that stories of people with creepy smiles scare me." "Kelsey, say it back." "Oh, look, you were the one who scared the hell out of me in the middle of the night." I smiled. By the way, how did you manage to stop the phone clock at 109? That was good. And the whole family told me. They stared at each other like they were crazy. Then suddenly they all started screaming. This wasn't fun and I'm scaring them all. The dazed team still didn't know if they were joking or if they were sleepwalking somehow. Although that would explain the time flow that waste other night. Okay. I yelled, damn it. I must have been in a dream. Amazed something stopped scaring me. I turned and walked into the room more confused than ever. I knew I wasn't dreaming. Were they serious about their little prank, or did they really not remember? Either way, I knew I had to settle that night's conflict. If I ever had it again, if they tried to do this, I would get a simple recording that ruined their sweet little joke. I continued laughing, pleased with the plan. The boys helped chop up the wood and pile it up while they were doing business in town. Before we knew it, we found ourselves in our beds. I made sure my phone was charging right next to my bedside. I was ready to catch them, red-handed, after these hours. I woke up once again into eerie silence inside the house, similar to the previous night. This time, I felt fear as if a ton of bricks were hitting me. That excitement started to pump. I took my phone and lit up the screen. I tried to open Mulberry Records in the morning, but my phone was frozen. We were fed up, damn it. I shouted in a whisper in the corridor. I looked through it and saw the same shadows as the night before. This time they were a little closer. I was horrified when I saw from the corner of my eye that the TV was on, but the screen was frozen. It was like all the electronic devices were frozen, and it made my whole body shiver. I got up from that bed and walked towards the door quietly and carefully. I glanced over and had to cover my mouth to stop myself from yelling cut, and the boys were standing facing me this time. They had a bigger smile than before. They were 5 paces closer. I could see their eyes were bloodshot and wide open, and when I moved my hand to cover my mouth, all 3 of them moved forward. He took a big step. Naturally, I took a step back. They moved everywhere as if they were making another big move. Kelsey took a step forward compared to the boys. She was steps away from me with her eyes open. She looked like she was extremely excited. The whistle jumped on the bed. Meanwhile, there was a loud sound behind me. I heard a roaring sound behind me. I felt a blow harder than you could hit me under normal circumstances. Oh, what is this? And oh, I shouted because of the pain in my back. I pulled it over my head. I was aware that it was a child, but I was not in the mood to attack. Finally, the sound stopped. I only thought it was an ear injury, which I guess came from the cut. I heard heavy breathing that was going to be very deep. And then all the breathing stopped and silence filled the room. He couldn't read. He whispered so fast for a while that I could barely understand what he said. Immediately afterwards, the beeping sound of the microwave filled the house and the television returned to its former state. These people went back to their rooms. I heard faint footsteps leaving Ken's room. X came out from under the bed cover and curled up next to me. I immediately took my phone and checked the time. It was 1 in the morning. I couldn't make sense of anything at that time. I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I tried to guess the next step. I thought the only thing I could do for next time was to pretend to be asleep, cause if I don't move they might not notice me in this. If they think I'm totally asleep, maybe they'll just stand looking scary in the hallway. I guess it was worth a try. But tomorrow I'll get the latest. I'll let you know and tell you how last night went for me. It's still pretty scary, actually. Being attacked is just the beginning, isn't it? I have another plan for tonight, but I'll tell you about it tomorrow. Wish me luck, and if you have any ideas about what happened here, please feel free to help.
If you've listened this far, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe Your support is very important to me.